talking about sales. Mega bank. Nga mo ile ni wenyo la open.
Yes.
Ko mega bank wa file. But sila na tra business maker. Ima mire jenta wa file ko. Ko ya wa fi nyami wo.
Yeah, wa fi nyami follow. Two things.
Two things, yeah.
Mega bank. 2014.
Yeah.
Like a mega bank salvage. Mega bank was going under.
Yeah.
Nga sang pour ka save.
Yeah.
We bought it in 2014 for $900 million.
900 million.
Yes. 600 from Ministry of Finance, 300 from Central Bank.
Okay.
And see, 9 years afterwards, when we salvaged the bank, nga restructure, nga rehabilitate, and did everything, took staff from Central Bank to run it. The board was part of the Central Bank. And you developed the bank for it was working again and making profits. You sell it 9 years down the line for the same $900 million. Yes, Amir.
Yes, Amir. So I won't profit me. Oh?
Bank was worth at least $2.5 billion.
But why do you think we sold it though, even at that price?
Yeah.
Because there have been a lot of allegations of
Yes.
the operations at the bank. And I want to thank everybody that's sending us stars. Thank you. But there were a lot of allegations that who they were giving loans to, how they were connected to. And then all of a sudden, the bank was sold.
I'll tell you something.
Okay, go ahead.
Isn't it funny that that bank was sold for $900 million?
Yeah.
And that bank gave $1 billion loan at about the same time. $600 million to one company and $400 million to another company. That's about the sale price. Is there a coincidence there, or do we have to read into that?
Say that again, please.
The bank was sold for $900 million.
Yes.
And this bank gave out $1 billion loan just about the time it was sold.
Yes, sir.
Is that a coincidence? Or is that something there?
Too much of a
One.
coincidence.
Two, this bank was sold. The Minister of Finance had the gall to sit there and look us in the face and said, "Yeah, wafi mima atamano jumalemu and yours is KM consortium or holding. Yeah, wafi wallem." He said, "You are the Minister of Finance.
Yeah.
When you sell that kind of institution, you should do your due diligence
Exactly.
to make sure you're not selling it to some drug dealers.
Yes.
You're not selling it to people who are going to do money laundering.
Money laundering. Yeah.
You're not selling it to some terrorist organization. You should do that due diligence.
Yeah.
Nimo, how do you know who you sold it to?
It's a financial institution.
It's a financial
In your
institution.
country.
We're all fighting. We're all fighting money laundering.
Yeah.
We're all fighting terrorism financing. How do you know you haven't sold to somebody who's going to do terrorism financing with it? How do you know it's not got somebody who's going to recycle drug money? So when did you do your due diligence? How did you sell that bank? And you have the gall to tell us that you don't know who you sold that bank to. And it's the same thing that happened with when they signed the contract for the polymetallic nodules in the deep sea mining. The same thing. Who owns that company? I could know it's a Belgian company and another company working with Gambian company, some Gambian investors. Who are the Gambian investors? He doesn't know. Really? You don't know who are those investors? You don't know who is Norwegian company? The deep sea mining is seriously regulated. That is what is called the United Nations Conference on the Law of the Sea. UNCLOS. When that was signed in 1982, the Gambia signed that convention in May of 1982. And in October of the following year, of 1984, we ratified it in Parliament.
Yeah.
And that compels us to have a very serious regime for the exploitation of those resources on the seabed. So for the moment, no country in the world is doing deep sea mining of those polymetallic nodules. These are the rare earth minerals, cobalt, manganese, lithium, and that sort of thing. Because if we all start mining in the deep sea bed, it's going to be destruction of a magnitude in the marine environment. So Norway is the only country in the world that has said that now we're going to do deep sea mining, and they decided to go ahead with it. And Norway has one of the biggest territorial waters in the world because of its geographic location.
Yeah.
But they didn't do it in Norway. They came to do it here in the Gambia.
The Gambia.
Why? Why?
And the other thing for maybe is it's not that in principle there is anything wrong with, like, sale of a bank or to do mining, if you have resources. Is that there are established processes kake anyama.
Yes. Yes.
So the thing is that you learn from other countries, you understand your context. With the nation's interest being center and forefront.
Yeah.
So that alabanta nyawnya asoksita wa mang succeed wo koku nata finti the nation's interest is safeguarded. Wala manke wala mjan problem wodi. It's not that there's anything wrong. Again, we can go back to privatization, selling part of some services at the airport, buying power from somewhere else, asset recycling. In principle, there is nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, you said that.
It's just that the way ni mansakunda ka kenyame, ye momil tombo milka mansakunda represent ni kolbekela ima londo soto ima experience soto bankola interest mankela interest.
Also, my experts in our the finance and the justice ministry. I'm assuming negotiations will be carrying experts cover wallet to go.
When you kabiring CDK bita aning Africa 50 be negotiate la aning expert jumale tata.
Ano momenta.
So modo ya fundi ako Africa 50 more kabiring nata. Kabiring with the negotiation with nata. I don't want to say exactly what I mean for you, but it was so funny. It was so funny. Why?
No, because we
do have experts.
This government, we have a lot of competent people who are working in government. Some of them, they are very young people.
Yeah.
And I've met people in this government. In Attorney General's chambers, they are very young and competent attorneys there.
Yeah.
They are young and competent people, even in the Ministry of Finance.
Yeah.
The thing is just like, when you have an incompetent government as this, and you have people at the top who are motivated by things other than the national interest. The people they elevate at positions of responsibility are, sycophants and people who praising them, people who will do as they are told, who are quote unquote team players, who will see the wrong thing being done and say nothing about it. People who are independent, people who will give advice or look for things that are in the interest of the country. These people will be sidelined. So the right people, the competent people in this administration, they are present in the government. Those people are sidelined.
Yeah.
You will find them, some of them even at the level of directors, they'll be sidelined. Even some people at the level of permanent secretaries, they will be sidelined. The ones who would be given, a seat at the table, who will be making decisions, are not people who are competent to do it, but people who are there, who are just hustlers in a sense, like this sort of caliber, the ministers we have. If you have an incompetent minister like CDK, he's going to make sure the people closest to him when he's doing a deal like this are those who are going to keep quiet. They are not going to report on improper things they are seeing. They are not going to reveal what a blunder he has done. The people who might say something about what a terrible decision the country is making, he will make sure that those people are sidelined. This is how a government that is run by incompetent people at the top, this is how they operate. The Gambian civil service, there are a lot of smart Gambians who are in government.
Yeah.
We have knowledge of those.
Absolutely.
But they have been deliberately sidelined.
Yeah. And even if we were to need more people to supplement that capacity that we already have, like the young attorneys at the Ministry of Justice. If we needed more people with certain expertise, we have, for example, at African Development Bank, we have the African Legal Support Facility. African Legal Support Facility can provide us seasoned lawyers in particular areas to help us.
No cost.
In deep sea mining, I'm sure we don't have any experts on that because it's a highly specialized area.
Yeah.
But you go to African Development Bank, tell them we want African Legal Support Facility to support us in this area. They will provide us lawyers, seasoned lawyers in that area, in that sector, at no cost.
No cost.
And we negotiate with those people. But that is if you want to do the right thing. If you have the country's interest at heart, if you want to make sure the country gains, you do that.
Yeah.
But if you want to get a quick kickback or whatever, and You don't bother those things. Hey, how much are you putting on the table? That's what you're looking at.
Yeah, you're looking at. Juka,
And you see, when you get to a point where all that matters is how much you can get out of a deal, and not how much you can get for the country, then we are in trouble.
We're in trouble.
And that's where we are today.
Yeah.
They will say all sorts of things. They will negate what we say. They will fight back. But that is the reality. You see, when you start fighting corruption and saying these things, the corruption fights back. We have to be strong to continue fighting, to continue exposing what is wrong. We are going to sing praises for this government. And that's what they want us all to do.
We will not do that.
And we will not do it.
We will do our job.